All right. Hello, everybody. Excited for today and this conversation here we have with Nini Grace, who is in the New Jersey area here in the United States, and excited to talk with her today. I came across her Instagram page not too long ago and immediately saw the love and light she was sharing with her audience, and reached out to her and asked her if she wanted to have a fun conversation with me. And here we are today. Nini is a spiritual life coach as well as a medium and all around awesome human being that I'm excited to just flow some good vibes with today with all of you all. And if you're watching this on the stream, feel free to join us here on Zoom if you have any questions. We won't necessarily be able to see anything that's being said on Facebook or on the computer screen, but you're welcome to join if you're inspired to. Without further ado, I want to introduce you guys to Nini, and if you could share with the audience so they're more familiar with you, who you are, what you do, why you do it, all these good things.
So, like you mentioned, I am a spiritual life coach and medium, and this is a practice that I've been doing my entire life. Since I've been a child, I've been able to communicate with spirit, and connecting intuitively is something that's just always come naturally to me. At the young age of 15, I decided that I was going to share this gift with other people, and I started doing readings professionally in high school. The journey has been incredible. I don't know a time in my life where I've not worked intuitively or have been in connection with this gift. Um, College, came school, I went to art school, and I was still doing readings. I was doing readings in art school for $3 as well as high school. And in my early 30s, I decided that I no longer wanted to do anything else, just really lean into my gifts that were my purpose. And it was just becoming more and more apparent to me. And I've been so blessed to have worked with the likes of some of the greatest psychic mediums in the world, like Audrey Willey. Um, I've worked with Lisa Williams. I was acknowledged by Oprah Winfrey in 2014, the Life You Want tour. And to date, I'm blessed to be on various shows on Sirius XM to be their spiritual advisor when they need one on the show, and serve so many incredible people around the world as clients and as their mentor. Um, Honestly, no, I don't know what else I would do with my life if it wasn't this, if it wasn't educating people on metaphysics and spirituality, if it wasn't helping people come to heart and soul healing, or reconnecting them with their loved ones on the other side, or bringing them to new awarenesses so that they can crush their goals in life in a
I
more
love it.
holistic approach.
I love it. I love it. I always ask the question in these conversations. It's always a curiosity for me because I know we all come here, Nini, and you do as well, as little unconditional, loving little babies. And for a lot of us, we forget who we truly are along the path, especially when we're young. And it's always my hope for everyone that the light bulb can come back on and we can remember who we truly are. And then life can be really, really fun when we're connected with that energy that all of us truly are. But for your journey, sounds like you were pretty aware from an early age. But how did that go? Did you go straight from unconditional loving little baby to you never forgot and you were just like vibing and flowing from the beginning, or was it a little bit different?
It's never not been there. 2, 3 years old, I shared a room with my sister, and I would see spirit, and I would ask my spirit, my sister, do you see this? Do you see this? And she would say no, and I would just sit there in awe, never in fear. And I was so blessed to be nurtured spiritually by my mother and my grandmother, who were very spiritually aware of these gifts. So I was able to nurture them and ask the follow-up questions. At 9 years old, I realized that I wasn't just seeing spirit, but also that I was, in fact, connecting to energy. And my mom had a friend by the name of Carmen who would come over, and she would have tarot cards. And I was always so curious because I thought, what could be cooler than knowing someone's future, right? And obviously, without knowing that there's a responsibility to that at the time. Um, I started discussing what I saw on the cards, and everyone stopped. And in a Hispanic household, you're in trouble if you're a child and you're interfering with where adults are, are speaking. And I thought, wow, this is the end of my life today. And she said, well, how do you know that? And I said, I don't know. I just see it. And she said, I said, this is what I want to do when I'm older. And she said, you're going to do so much more.
Mm. I love it. I love it. I know the household you're describing. The stay in a child's place and don't, you know. But that had to be very fascinating for them and for you. And was there an encouragement there from there as far as your family?
Always,
Yeah, that's
always.
cool.
As I became an adult and things wouldn't work out, and I remember specifically calling my mom the time I decided no more, this is all I'm going to do. I'm going to just follow this through. And I was working as a paralegal at the time, and I was not good at that. I was not good at it. And I would cry every day to work. I was so miserable. And I said to my mom, I'm leaving this job. I cannot do it anymore. I'm miserable. And she said, when was the last time you did a reading? And it probably had been a couple weeks because I was working multiple jobs to support my children. And she said, you have to go back to doing your readings. So I really feel that the divine would use my mom to put me back on the path that I was supposed to be on. And so that's it. Once I made that decision, and you understand when you're in flow, everything else just follows suit right after. So the minute I accepted that this was the end all be all for my life really just came together for me.
Mm. I love that. It's really a great reminder that there could be people placed in our life that can, you know, just be great reminders for us of, you know, who we are. And in your case, you know, great choice by you as far as the parents that you chose. That's why I was always curious, because it's a great choice regardless, because it could have been what some people's stories are where there wasn't much support, and then that sparked even more of a desire to share gifts. But with yours, it helped you just having, you know, a mom that encouraged you to continue sharing these gifts. And it's always fun, like when we're on like our path, as you described it. I like to describe it that way as well. It always feels so good, like while we're, you know, when we're going in that direction, we're moving towards, you know, what we're here to do. And I can sense that from you. And that's when you describe that being really just what you just love to focus on, and doing that. You know, for people that maybe right now they don't know much about, you know, what it is that, you know, you do as a medium, or the other things that you find yourself doing, you know, a lot with your readings. What how would you describe to them, like maybe what people are coming to you for, and what you're able to do to serve them? What's that
Sure.
look like?
So I'll start with mediumship, and mediumship really is the communication between myself and spirit, a loved one who've transitioned, and they come forward with messages and validations, usually to bring healing and closure to our loved ones who are still here in mourning. Once we transition, we're healed. We're in healing. We're in that loving space. We're understanding our life path. But we, as loved ones in our human condition, are left with questions and curiosities and heartache for the one that is now gone. And so it's a loving space to bring two spirits back together, one that is in a human condition and one that has transitioned. And when someone's mother, father, child comes through with validations and life experiences that only they would know, there's something truly magical that happens when your loved one knows without a shadow of a doubt that you are there.
Absolutely, absolutely. That gives a lot of people so much peace. And I like to, for people that haven't aren't aware of what you do, and you know, mediums do out there. For me, once I realized that, you know, if I'm, you know, alive, this energy that all of us are, even though we look at the physical avatars, you call mine Noel, you call yours Nini, you call yours whatever you call yours out there. Once I realized that really that was just the avatar, and that what was powering it was this non-physical energy, where when we, do leave this physical avatar behind here in the earth plane and return back to all that is, that's who we truly are, and there is no pain and suffering, and when we get there, and that gave me so much peace. And then also to know that we can still connect with those that have transitioned, if we're inspired to connect with them and they're inspired to connect with us. And then awesome, beings like you are able to connect those for those that haven't figured out how to do it for themselves yet. It's awesome. They gave me so much peace to know that if we're living now, we'll always be living. You just won't
Right.
look like
There's
this.
no, it's difficult. There's no end. I have been doing this, like I said, for as long as I've been alive. And every time I am done working, every time I'm done being in service for a client, I'm left in awe. And I always walk away saying, wow, I can't believe that happened. I'm always in awe of spirit because they always show up. Years ago, I was talking to a mentor before I started doing platform work. And platform work is simply just being before a larger audience. And I thought, well, what happens if no one shows up? I'm going to look like the laughing stock. And I was so nervous. And she looked at me and said, Spirit will never leave you standing there. They will always show up. And that's 12 years now. And I'm going to tell you, I've never just been left standing there. They are equally as excited to communicate with their loved ones as we are to communicate with them. They have free will as you and I do. So you may hear from, someone else rather than the person you wanted to hear from. And no one should ever guarantee otherwise, because we hear from who we're supposed to hear from. And we back that up with our faith and our trust and the belief that, we're being guided to what's in our highest good. There's guidance there. So we show up, and sometimes I think maybe I have the easiest career in the world because I'm really like a parrot sometimes, right? and and then I realize that regardless, it's a blessing. It's a blessing to be in service day in and day out, for my clients all over the world, and it's a blessing to be in service for spirit, and it's a blessing to be in service of my authentic self. That's
Absolutely.
mediumship. um, my spiritual life coaching and guidance really, what I decided to do years ago, due to out of respect for free will, was not do straight psychic readings, because what I found were people were showing up in desperation, and they put everything on, they were holding on to every word as if it were the end all be all, and not taking ownership of their own life and accountability of what's to come in their life. And the only way to grow and move forward is to put some accountability back on ourselves for the outcome that we want. So I incorporate some life coaching skills into my sessions, and we talk about the what's to come should they choose this life path or the next one. So I utilize my psychic skills in that way to help them come to understanding on what's really serving them or why something does not serve them, so that they have new awarenesses moving forward. What are these blockages that I'm feeling? And so intuitively, you can connect to energy. And sometimes we hold residual energy from perhaps something that happened 5 years ago, and it's still a block, even though we think we've released it, we've not. So we work on understanding that spiritual understanding, that spiritual block, that energy, and omit the whole ego voice and start to understand the godliness that dwells within us in our heart voice, which is the power brain, really, right? Because our heart holds 40,000 neurons like the brain, therefore it could function equally the same, but we've not given it the power to do so.
Mm.
And so those are the things that I bring into my spiritual guidance readings and life coaching sessions. Tools. life tools.
I love it. I love it because I mean, what you're doing, it's awesome because it's not just like you mentioned. A lot of times people would come in and almost out of desperation, like I need to know, what to do, and that can be a challenging place. Just the energy of like needing something in order to feel like we're able to be at peace or able to feel happy. I've definitely been there where it's like needing something outside of me to change in order to feel at peace on the inside. Doesn't work so well because we're reflecting that that need, that lack right now, and that's what we're bringing to this moment of life, and that's the new energy we're putting in. I've been talking a lot lately, Nini, about how humanity, a big challenge is we like to look at around us what's already physically manifested, not realizing that the energy to create that has already been put into that. That's why it's physically manifested now. So really, our power as a physical human is what new energy we're going to bring into this moment and this moment and this moment, which is going to create new manifestation in all the areas of our life that matter to us. So I've been just reminding that. So what's awesome is you're able to help people as far as the readings that you're doing, and at the same time helping them on their journey of if this is the path that you're going to choose to take, be able to help them with some things that can help them actually create that life that they want, versus because if they stay in that need lack energy, it can be very tough to create that what it is that they desire. It's just a different energy. Can
Right.
you speak to that as far as how that
Oh,
is
yeah,
that
that's the mindset, right? And that takes us back right back down to the head and heart voice. I actually woke up this morning at like 4:30, and that was just pounding in my head, heart, head, heart, head, heart. And it brought me back to a podcast I did in 2017. And it was all about the head and heart voice, and how shifting our mindsets shift our reality, because thought creates form, and we attract where we are, and not in that moment, in the days and months and years to come, because it does take time to bring that manifestation to you. um, and understanding where are these conversations coming from, why this limited belief system exists. We're so easy to lean into our fears, and so easy to accept that we are not able to attain the greatness that we've come here for, because we don't fully know what that looks like. But we know what fear looks like, we know what lack looks like for those who have the lack money mindset, right? It's never enough. I'm always stretching, I'm always trying to take from Paul to pay Peter, right? Instead of living in the mindset of abundance and ease, and allow that to flow. In that moment, you may have 20 bucks in your pocket, but the mindset is going to bring you so much more. I mean, you're looking at a woman who was homeless at one point in time with a baby. You're looking at a woman who raised 3 kids and was on a very strict $60 a week budget. But I never lived in lack. The mindset was never lack, because early on, I realized that that's only going to bring me less. And the goal was more. The goal was freedom. The goal was ease. And I wasn't trying to control the manner in which the ease came. I was trying to be present for it. And like all things, it came in its divine timing. And we don't understand in that moment, why is there this lack? But it's our chops. We all have to earn our chops in a certain way. And I wouldn't be able to speak of that lack mindset had I not experienced it and grown through it. It's a very specific, self-defeating conversation that we have with ourselves, because we want more, but we're constantly reminding ourselves that we don't have it. So what truth are we going to really believe? And they're both from the ego. They're both from that head voice. Because the moment we just stop and we give the heart the power that it deserves, it's going to remind us that we are abundant in the present state of our existence.
Mm. I love that. I love that. You inspired me a lot just now, Nini. I'm gonna share something that I haven't shared on a podcast before that actually crystallized last night. I was hanging out with a friend and it started flowing out of me. And there's been times like the way that this podcast started, like years ago, I would be talking to friends and I have to say, I have to start recording this because I know what's getting ready to flow out because I'm just inspired and just put it down, may go back and listen to it, may not, but I just want to make sure that if I want to, it's there. And so I was recording for like an hour last night and I forgot that it was even on. I was like, are we still recording? And it was recording for an hour. I was like, I'm so happy that that's recorded. But a lot of it stemmed from, as human beings, which like you mentioned, we have that fear of, how's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? Is it going to happen? Is, probably the main one, am I good enough to actually, have this happen for me? And, when we realize, I like to, because we have different words that we use to describe, whether it be, God or universe, or I like to use all that is. I just like to encompass like all that is. And I know that we're all just elements of this all that is. Like I am, you are, all of us are. We're all just different expressions of the same energy of all that is. And so that makes it very easy for me to feel it and to visualize it and to share it. But so if we're just an expression of this all that is, and we experience something in our life right now that, we're not enjoying or whatever it is, like we're immediately letting, all that is, which we're a piece of, we're basically telling ourselves, I want to see this in my life. And so the moment that we express that, the wheels are already in motion to have that. There's 7.7 billion humans on this planet. So you're basically expressing that. So everything starts to go into motion. Now, we don't control how it's going to happen, when, who it's going to be involved. Like that's not our work. Thank goodness that's not our work. That'd be very challenging to maneuver around as just me, as Noel, 7.7 billion humans and animals and plants and everything here to make the things that I want to see happen. That'd be very, very stressful. So the fact that we don't have to do that, and all I have to do once I've expressed that, is just return to being who I truly am in this present moment. And that allows the synchronicities to show up in all the ways that are important to me, as far as the things that I've expressed. It's so clear to me that if I'm telling myself that this is what I would like to see, and all that is always expanding, like with every thought and new creation that all of us do, and everything that is existing in the entire universe and beyond. Like if we're telling ourselves that this is what we like to see, it's like that's there. All that is excited too, because that's always an expansion also. So we don't have to worry about, is this thing going to happen? Like everything in the universe wants it to happen for us. Like it's just a matter of getting back to being who we truly are now, and allowing it to happen and not get in the way with our doubts and our worries and our anxieties. And easier said than done, but this is how, after all this time, it's becoming more and more clear for me, because I keep asking how I can express it easier for people to make it make sense.
I
And
can
I was
help
talking
you.
to someone. Yeah.
Have you ever read The Alchemist?
Yes. Great book.
In The Alchemist, he speaks of, once we set forth the thoughts, once we set forth the action, the whole universe conspires to make it happen. The whole universe is working in our favor to conspire. Thought is not enough. We also must take an action. Even the smallest action forward is an action that triggers response. So a simpler way to say is that the whole universe conspires to make it work in our favor the minute we've made a decision on what we wanted.
Absolutely. I love that. Everything is conspiring for our good. Everything is conspiring for our good. It's fun to see I love looking at the synchronicities of life, Nini, and what's awesome reminder, because our life is just one ongoing synchronicity. We can't predict any of this stuff, and we like to focus on the synchronicities that we really, really love and that are enjoyable. It's also synchronicities that are difficult and painful and challenging as well. And it's just great to also understand. That's why for me, all I pay attention is to, it's not like I have to actively pay attention, but it's a practice, and I've been doing it for a long time. my present moment vibration, frequency, energy. Like that's all I really care about, because I know that's all I can control in this moment of now is what version of Noel that I bring. And I know that
Mhm.
that's going to determine going forward what these synchronicities look like. Like I can't expect to wake up being like, oh, it's going to be a long day, and like cussing people out and like just being just miserable. And I can't expect awesome synchronicities to be happening like all day, like great
Right.
ideas, meeting cool people, like just today's the best day of my life. Like I've never heard that story from that. So it's just good to know, not beat yourself up or make yourself wrong if you're not feeling like blissed out of your mind. But if you could be aware of it, you may not keep the momentum going as long as maybe you have in the past. Because before being aware, you don't really have the choice to even notice it or do anything about it. Once you are aware, now you're like, ooh, like this feels different than the energy that I put myself in when I've decided to meditate to start the day. Like that anxious thought and that stressful thought, that feels much different than that. Like I kind of enjoyed how I felt like after meditating. Let me just return to that energy space, release this, because this worrying about how this is going to happen isn't really serving my highest energy right now, if that matters to me. So
It matters. There's power in presence. There's also healing in presence. You spoke of like if you're not having the best day. So one of the things that I don't like to negate those emotions either, because we are multisensory people, human beings, right? We're multisensory. 5D is too limiting. We're multisensory because we're intuitive. We see beyond things. We feel beyond. So if we are in a state of grace, that's wonderful. But even when we are in a state of chaos, because we all have that duality, right? There's healing that this is showing up for me, because there's healing that still needs to be done around this. So, what I tend to tell my clients is, okay, well, what's going on here? Why is this triggering you? What can you heal in this space? And if that healing takes all day, then that healing takes all day. If that healing takes 3 weeks, then that healing takes 3 weeks. But it's showing up with purpose, right? There's something that triggered that's showing up with purpose. And it doesn't mean you're not a happy person. It means that you're a human and you're evolving, because these things show up for us as we're evolving. It's a step. Some of them are little, some of them are really steep, you know, and it's up to us in that moment, in our pursuit towards enlightenment, in our pursuit towards healing, in our pursuit towards self-love and awareness, to take that leap forward and be present for the pain as well as for the joy.
great reminder. Great reminder. Like everything that I described, when I describe something that I'm very happy to be aware of now, it sparked from a time in my life where I wasn't aware of it at all, and it was one of the biggest challenges of my life. Like, just I was so externally focused, like I mentioned, and I'll be happy when, or just always trying to manipulate the external world. And if anything I perceive to be going good in my relationships or my health or my finances, then I'd be in a good mood. And if I perceive that something was off or wasn't going the way that I thought that it should, then I would not be in a good mood. And I think that's a pretty common part of the human experience. And then when we become aware of really what's going on, it doesn't, like, just because you're aware doesn't mean we snap our fingers and like we're permanently this way. Like
Right.
that just never describing that. I like
I
to say
wish.
awareness.
I
Yeah,
wish.
I know. I like to say awareness gives us, because I like to be very on the side of, like, there's no way that I can measure this exactly, but I like to say that awareness takes us 99% of the way there, and the 1% is always eternal choice in the moment. Like, it's just, what are we going to bring to this moment of life, this moment of life? I could be aware of it, but I might still choose to yell at someone, cuss someone out, and like slap them across the face. That's just my choice in the moment, even though I was aware that that's not going to cause the best results in my life, or and what I want. So but no, it's awesome, because we all can have compassion for ourselves and for each other, knowing that we all are where we are on our journey, and we chose to come into this physical avatar and have this human experience because it was going to be some of those experiences as well that weren't going to be so pleasant. They were going to be painful, and every life experience, whether they're the most painful or the most blissful, is causing us to expand. Like, that's just the whole, part of the human experience, every life experience. That's why taking actions is so useful. That's why I tell people, even if you have a curiosity towards moving in a direction where you think, I'd like to go explore that. I'd like to follow this Nini human and see what she's doing, and maybe participate, maybe have a read. It's a really great idea, because that's going to provide a life experience, which is going to lead to new clarity as far as, this direction, I want to keep going in this, or I want to go this direction. Without the action, you haven't had a new life experience. So there's no new clarity that you have sitting in the same place. So highly recommend, because that's what we came here for, to experience it. If we didn't want to experience that, then we would have just stayed in the non-physical, plane, and,
Right.
we'd have that experience, but there would be no pain and suffering that we'd experience for growth. Like that's here in the human experience, which it can all be beautiful, because we appreciate the awesome experiences even more.
Yeah, that's the beauty of free will, right? We can be curious enough to walk down a path and this doesn't serve us, so we get the heck out of Dodge. And when we're like, this doesn't work anymore, Mayday. But we should always understand why we went down this path, right? So I always say we learn the lessons now, we learn the lessons later. So let's learn the lessons while we're here so we can bring that back with us to the spiritual realm. Have you ever read the book, The Seat of the Soul?
I've browsed throughout. I saw it it's behind you.
It's
I've gone through in different parts of it.
for over almost 30 years, it has been always behind me. Almost 30 years. And I
Yeah.
pick it up, and every time I read it, I learn something new. I highly recommend it to all my students and clients because it is a game changer and it brings us closer to our essence. It is such a gift to be physical. It is such a gift to have this experience, whether we are human, whether we are animals, whether, we are a tree, because even a tree has an auric field. It is such a gift. And a life, be it one of struggle or one of ease, they are viewed equally on the other side. No one is greater than the other. A human life is no more important than the life of a dolphin or a dog. The spirit lacks ego, and it truly just wants the experience of that of the dolphin or that of the human or that of the tree.
You just inspire me. I wanna say something, because this just happened last night. When it comes to animals, and I love animals because they're just pure positive energy. Like they're just, it's the same energy that we are expressed as a cat, as a house cat. I'm going to talk about a cat right now. But they're just being a cat, and a lot of times, like, our influence as humans, as stressed out humans, the animals can feel that, and it could alter their, what we call, instincts. Like, another word for instincts is just God force energy to me, source energy, love energy. That's just that they're being who they are. We kind of can get in the way sometimes as humans. Like, there's no like bad animals. It's just like, and there's no bad humans. It's just we've chosen to continue to express like this energy that the animal can pick up on, and it's just they just want to be who they truly are. So that's not
Yeah.
my point. But yesterday I was around a cat that reminded me, and I had so much love for this cat, because probably a decade ago, me and my ex-girlfriend, we rescued a litter of cats. The mom just disappeared, and they were gonna all die. They were only 2 weeks old. And so we rescued this little cat, and I had to Google like I bottle fed this cat at 2 weeks old. I had to Google the whole thing. Like, you had to help it go to the bathroom. You had to take a little towel and like help it go pee. So me and this cat developed a really strong bond, as you can imagine. Like, he just would come over to me and like bite the bottom of my little foot. That was
Yeah.
his signal, like it's time to eat. so, so this was the process, and I wasn't aware of everything that I'm aware of now. We're always evolving. When I moved from LA 6 years ago, but he was an outdoor cat, and he would just be all around the neighborhood. Like, everybody loved him. And he developed a really strong connection with some of our neighbors that had awesome trees in their backyard, and he'd just be over there all day, sleep there. They had like food for him and everything else. And so they begged me it was moving here to Miami. I didn't really know, it's not really a place for outdoor cats where I live. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't. So they begged me to let him stay in California, which was rough, but eventually I ended up making that decision. I thought that he would be happy there. Long story short, I haven't seen him in the physical, and don't even know if he's still here in the physical. Like, it became difficult to communicate with the couple. I don't know. I'm just still trying to dig into that and see if he's physical, but I just kind of released it, and like I know you're good either in the physical or you're good like energetically, like still connected, like we still have that bond. But this little cat yesterday is the same. Like, he looked exactly the same, and he was like not 2 weeks old, but like 2 months old. He's still very small, and like I walk in, and I knew he was gonna be there, but he was just like there were just connection, and I knew that I could connect with my cat because this cat, the energy again is just a piece of all that is, just like my cat was, just like I am. So I knew that I could connect with, I could see little
Yeah.
seeds of what I know that I would give some people, like, because I know people when they lose an animal that can also be very painful, and there's definitely been some pain there for me because I had such a connection, and then we're just like all of a sudden never
Mhm.
saw him again. But I've had so much love for this cat, and like I could just see little, you know, I was like, if you can feel me out there, like Milo, like I know you can, like I love and appreciate you, and I'm gonna love this little guy here, just reminding me of you.
And that's true, because they are part of that oneness, right? And even animals are part of our soul family. People say, I swear this is my grandfather coming back. This dog is my grandfather. I've heard people say this, and I'm like, you know what? It very well could be. Because when we return to spirit, we're lacking ego. I'm not saying that it is, and I'm not saying that this cat was your other cat, but what I'm saying is there's no separation between us and them from the other side of the veil. And so if you feel it, believe it. That's it may or may not be, but it doesn't matter because you're feeling it. And that's your heart voice connecting you to that infinite oneness. And you trust that. And how much comfort did it bring you?
Oh, so it was so much fun. I haven't felt that type of love for, because I love animals just period, but that was just much stronger because there was such a connection there. And I knew just by having that love flowing to this little guy that my the cat Milo could feel that wherever he was. Like, I just know. So it was just fun anyways,
Mm.
whether he was coming through to like nibble on me because he was doing a lot of the things. And cats are very, again, instinctual, so they will do a lot of the same things anyway. But this dude could sense that I was like all for playing with him, and his mom was like not wanting him to be as like cat like with me. I was like, please just let him do whatever he wants. Like, it's just fun. Like, it's
We're
just fun.
cats.
Like, I'm
We're
just
cats.
connected with his energy. Yeah, just do what you want. Like, you want to jump up and bite my arm and grab, it's cool. Like, it was just fun. So yeah, that was fun for me. Because that
And cats like people, some of them we don't connect. Just like you can be the most loving person on the planet, but there will always be someone that you just don't feel that instant connection to. You can have love and compassion, but you don't feel that bond. That's okay. It could be someone who's new into your soul cycle. It could be someone who perhaps in a past life you did not get along with. And so we have soul memory that acknowledges things that we physically cannot. So you took to this beautiful little kitten
hmm,
who at some point might have been part of your soul cycle.
it's all. I always like to remind that everything, and you've mentioned this because you. I like how you share like the possibility, and at the same time, it's not important for us to be like definite. Like, this is 100% the way it is. It has to be. I always remind people that there's universal law, and then everything else is possibility. How the majority of things is those things that we don't know, and we don't even know that we don't know. Like, that's the majority of this universe, and we have the little small amount of things that we know, and then we have some other things that we know that we don't know. Like, for me, I'm not going
So,
to give a talk on molecular biology today. I'm just not going to speak on that.
right.
But then there's that other area where it's like, I mean, it's just possibility. So it's just, to me, that gives me peace because I don't have to ever think that I know it all and won't ever think that I know, and I could just be open to possibility.
I forget. I'm gonna quote, and I think it was Oprah who said, "I don't know, I don't know anything, but I understand a lot."
Hmm.
And that's the truth to all things. There is duality in all things, even perspective. So we understand a lot, but we don't know much. Right? So I think that aids into what you were just saying.
Absolutely. That's why I can have these conversations that I have with all of you guys, that I'm not going to anytime soon be doing specifically the work that you're doing. That's not my life experience. I understand though what's going on, is it all starts with the foundation of we're all connected. We're all just different expressions of this energy. That understanding and that knowingness allows us to understand pretty much everything if we're just open to listening to someone express that energy through their unique life experience. Then it will make sense, like if they're sharing it from that place versus, if they're sharing it from a place of wanting to manipulate and control and all. That's just a different like frequency. I won't understand that as much. It won't resonate. But
Right.
that's why I say, even if someone's sharing, whether it be religion or different spiritual teaching, it's coming from a place of connection and oneness and love, like it resonates. Like I understand, oh, that makes sense. Even if wouldn't get in front and like speak about that to teach, because that's not my life experience. I don't have that to reach for, but I have other things that I could share, and we might be saying the same stuff, but just talking about different subjects, which is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, your gift is your gift, right? And well, you know the world doesn't need another me, because there's me, and so someone else's gift that's similar to mine will have their own niche, and you have your own beautiful gifts, right? So that's we live in a copycat world, unfortunately, where everyone kind of looks at other people's highlight reel and thinks that their life is lacking luster because it doesn't resemble this, rather than understanding that we did come here with these beautiful innate gifts that are for us to share in this world. And you have your own glow. Everyone has their own glow. That's your energy, right? And I love that saying, we're made of star stuff. So we're all made of star stuff, and I've never seen a star that didn't shine.
Hmm, that's great. I
And
love that.
so in a copycat world, it's incredible to see someone who could stand on their own 2 feet and say, this is what I'm bringing to the table, and my tribe is going to show up. You've
Absolutely.
built a platform where people can come to educate themselves, or maybe just have an enlightened hour. And it's more than what some people are doing. And then there are the people that are doing it, but your conversations are being handled differently. So it's
Absolutely.
okay. We live in an abundant universe, right?
Absolutely. It goes back to the copycat world that you're describing. It's because it's so much easier for humanity to look at what's already physically manifested. So we're just looking around and saying, oh, like they look like they're having a great time. So we're looking at their physical manifestation, and now we're like, why don't I have that? Or I want that, versus just being clear on maybe you do want some versions of that. Now, the great news for all of us is we've already broadcast that out to the universe, and we get to now start from this moment, which is all that exists, the creation of this new energy, like bringing forth that. And then we get to manifest whatever it is that we want in our life, which may be similar, but it'll be different because, like Nini said, you're on your own life path. So I think that is, it all boils down to, I think it's so much, it's almost like the lazy way of creating, like, oh, I see this. Okay, I'm going to do this too. Like
Yeah.
when if we could use that as inspiration and then go create what we actually want.
Really recreating a wheel. We're not really like recreating the structure of the reel, right? We're here, we're living our lives. There are hundreds, if not there are thousands of mediums in the world, right? Thousands of life coaches, thousands of psychic advisors. But I'm painting this wheel my color.
Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. What's your vision, Nini, for what, like, as far as what I know, I love asking people's like vision questions for where they see their life evolving. Because if I ask you a year from now, you have another year of life experience and this evolves. But as far as everything you're focusing on and what you maybe are saying, okay, this is where I see things evolving in my life or in my business or for humanity or whatever it is that, you allow your vision to wherever you allow your vision to go. What's that look like for you as of today?
My vision for a year out.
Well, not necessarily a year out. It could be any time, but just regard like as of today, what you see for what you're doing, like where it's evolving to. Obviously, you're focusing on the moment and enjoying
Mhm.
your work, but anything that you're like, ooh, this is I see this going in this in my life or in humanity. To me, the
Mhm.
timetable never matters. I don't put that on. I
Yeah.
just say if I asked you a year from now, then you're gonna have another year of life experience. So you share probably what you're gonna share now, and then have other new clarity because you're gonna experience more
Yeah.
life.
So for myself, I definitely every day I'm bringing forward my story, and I've been actively working on my story. My book is called Rock Bottom Magic, and it really is the gift of standing back up on our own 2 feet after things have gone terribly wrong in our lives. And I'm taking the approach from the teacher that I am, because I know above all else I'm a teacher for the divine, and helping people re-empower themselves through my story and exercises. So moving forward, I definitely know that this book is coming to life, because it's something that I presently and actively do every day. Moving forward, it, I mean, this our community is always speaking of this great awakening, and there's the misunderstandings that it looks a certain way, but like all things that are birthed, it hurts first. And so we're birthing it. And that's why this hurts. This hurts. This time hurts us physically, spiritually, emotionally. But there's an end to it. And that's the beauty. We are birthing a new way.
I love it. I love it. And I encourage everybody to just, as of today, the great news for all of us is we're as clear on what that new way looks like for us, like what we would like to see in our health and our relationships, for our world, for whatever it is that matters to you out there. You're as clear today as you've ever been because of all the life experience you've lived up until now, everything that you've seen that you like and don't like. And so, great news for all of us is like we already have expressed that desire to the universe just by living. You even have to like actually say, "I want this." Like, trust me, like your soul knows that you want this. Like we've you've been experiencing so many areas where it hasn't been that, and you're like, "Oh, I really want to see this." So all that any of us have to do is just get back to being who we truly are in this moment, which is all we control, and then just doing what we can do with what we have from where we are. Like none of us really have more option than that. Like we can't act from tomorrow or act from yesterday. Like we can act from now. and and then just see how much you can treat this life like an adventure. Like we don't control any of the synchronicities, the plot to the movie. Like yeah,
Mhm.
you're the writer. Like you can script out what it is that you would like to see for sure, and trust that it's happening. But you don't control all the plots and the characters that'll come out of
No
nowhere. Like
way. No
Nene
way,
did,
man. No
yeah, me
way.
and Nene didn't even know each other existed on the planet before a couple of weeks ago, and then all of a sudden, like the plot decides that you guys would be good co-characters in this phase of each other's movies, like you're co-stars in each other's movies. Here, go create some awesome things that can
I
help
love
people.
that you use the movie analogy, because I use something very similar. I always say, an actor never comes into a scene prematurely,
Hmm.
and you're so right on with that.
Hmm.
And you're right. It flows in its most beautiful timing. And I mean, I'm grateful for being here and sharing space with you today. So thank you for inviting me. And you're right. We didn't know one another, and a couple weeks ago I thought my schedule wasn't going to pan out and I wasn't going to be able to do the show, and I'm like freaking out. I'm like, no, but I really want to do the show. And it just so happened that what I was supposed to be doing that popped on my calendar kind of was rescheduled. So look at how beautiful it worked out.
I love that. I
So
love what you just said. Yeah, I
that
love that.
leads into like fear. So I immediately went into my human state of panic. And then when I decided to just release it, it worked itself out like everything else, right? Because no one individual problem lasts forever.
An actress never comes into our scene prematurely. I love that. I've had some conversations with friends that are in my life now that we were like, can you imagine? Because we realized we've been in like the same city for a while, and like, but we realized if we would have met each other a year prior or even a month prior, the timing just would have been off, and the friendship that we created might not have actually even happened because of things that were going on in our lives individually. So that's a great reminder and helps us to be able to trust, especially for people that, a human connection, relationships, whether it be friendships, business partnerships, or intimate relationships, if that matters to you out there, which I'm sure some part of that matters to you because we came here to to relate and with other humans. That can give us the peace to be able to release the how it's going to happen, the when, and the who it's going to be, and to be able to trust that, when timing is right, they will come and show up in our lives. I do notice, and I like to remind though, if it's they don't come in prematurely, and that could also mean if we're not open to having a new relationship in whatever sort show up in our lives, just because we're just we're focused on something else, or we're just not open to even meeting or talking to anyone. That's okay too. That's not going to like ruin you from meeting this human. Like, again, they're not going to come premature that day. You're probably not ready to meet them anyway. So don't worry about it. Like the next day you might be. So it's cool. It won't. A lot of times people get so fearful, like, oh my gosh, like if I'm not in like a good mood all day, every day, then I'm going to like miss my chance of something. It doesn't work that way. Now, will you meet them that day? Probably not, because you don't want to talk to anybody anyways, but it's cool.
We don't have that much control. Like
Yeah.
we like to think that we have free will, but even free will is limited. Even our free will is totally limited. It could be a day where we want to totally avoid everyone, and it's the day that everybody shows up in our life, right? So like we have those days too. So the joke is life happens while we're busy making plans.
That's true. Treat it like an adventure. It's an adventure. Mine's an adventure movie. I don't know about you guys out there, but I've decided life is an adventure movie for me. I'm just gonna see what the next scene is going to lead to, and I'm gonna enjoy it as much as I can.
That's right.
I love it.
Chapter, whatever.
Exactly. Chapter now.
Now, I love that. I'm obviously I'm a big reader, and I read "Be Here Now" by Ram Dass years and years ago. Actually, when I was a teen. Oh gosh. Um, and it was so hard to understand the power of presence because when we're so young-minded, we still think we have so much control. And coming to understand that the control that we have is presence, and not giving too much to what has been or the what's to come, because it's done and we can't control tomorrow, right? It seems like such a simple concept. But when you want something so badly, you sit there thinking of 5 ways to Sunday and how to make it come to fruition, right? And so we think that we're putting productive energy out into the world when it's actually in contrast to that. It's destructive. It's the simple action of being present and saying, maybe I'm just going to Google what this looks like. Not trying to get on the phone and outsource everything that same moment that we have the thought process of it. That little one step really creates the wave that started from the ripple effect. And honestly, and it seems like a simple concept, but it's not until you're ready to receive it. How can I be present if I'm worried about my mom's health? How could I be present if my bills aren't paid, right? All the exterior things that you were discussing before. How could I be happy if I'm only worrying about this little moment and myself? It's called selffulness. Presence and selffulness brings you awareness. Awareness outside of the self makes us loving global citizens. our kind-hearted nature will say, Mom, are you not feeling well? How can I help you? The tomorrow is today's wish. And I'm going to show up tomorrow for today's wish if it's for me. Still, all while being present.
Hmm.
I really wished I grasped that concept at 16. I would have saved myself a lot of like headaches.
That awareness was the co-star that it wasn't time for to come into your life yet. Mine either. At 16, there was more pain that needed to be had so that we could
Oh yeah.
appreciate the awareness even more when it did come.
At 16, I was automatic writing and thought I was going to get in touch with Jim Morrison like, or something. It was pretty intense, trying to discipline this gift.
I love what you just shared right there. Everybody, when this is out, like rewind and listen to Nini's last segment. And I almost feel like that was the answer. A lot of times this happens. Like I'll have questions that I want to ask someone, and I feel like they're answering it immediately, but I didn't actually verbally ask it. But that was something like at the end I like to always ask, because these will outlive probably you and I in the physical. Like somebody will tune into this 100 years from now and be impacted by it. So it always feels really good to know that this is recorded and shared and out there. But I always like to make sure that if there's anything that the guest wants to flow out of them, it could be reaffirming something they've already shared, or something that they just want to make sure that someone tunes into this anytime that they hear this. And you definitely just did that. But if there's anything in addition that you want people to hear, whether it's now or 50 years from now, and if there's anything you want them to know for people that are here right now tuning in live, or that will hear this when it's out on iTunes, that you want them to be able to participate with you in either of these things that want to flow out of you.
I don't know. I'm really feeling the whole presence thing, and I think that the only thing that I would add to that is we are what is real is only what continues to exist after we're gone, right? And only till it's gone. And even that is not infinite. So I think this was a great conversation. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Me too. A conversation I would want to have with you anyway. And I've become, with all this technology, it's like we have to record this and share it. It would seem like not as beneficial and impactful if it was just you and I's enjoyment. So I'm very grateful for you, Nini, and for the ability to record this and share this, and for your willingness and inspiration to come play with me today, and for the universe for allowing your schedule to open up. I always say that the universe always wants these type of talks out there, so it always works out. I always will reply to someone, it happened in perfect timing when we're trying to figure out schedules, and technology always works, and that's never been the reason that it doesn't get out there. So I'm appreciative for these moments, and affirming that is our first co-creation, and that we'll co-create again whenever timing is right going forward.
I would love it. Thank you so much, and may you always be filled with love and light, and have a wonderful today.
Thank you so much. You guys out there, share this episode, and it'll be on the streamings. You guys can share it for 24 hours on all these streams, and then it'll be out on iTunes and Spotify. Give it some weeks time. I do lots of these fun conversations, but never with Nini. This is the first time that we've co-created. Actually, I haven't co-created twice with anyone as far as the platform yet. There's like 7.7 billion of you guys out there, and I'm doing my best to get to all of you guys, but I'm gonna just keep doing what I can do.
Thank you. And if your listeners ever would like to get in touch with me, they could just visit my website, which is just ninigrace.com.
Perfect.
Very simple. Keep it very simple around here.
That's cool to have that. Your name's very easy to spell, both names, and it's cool that you have the domain for that. So I love it. That makes it very simple. They can get readings and everything from you.
All that, it's all on my website. Everything's there. All my social media is just basically straight Nini Grace.
That's awesome. Love it. Well, thank you guys out there. Definitely when this is out on iTunes, leave a review and say that Nini human was awesome, and I became aware of this, and this, and that'll make it easier for people to find this episode as well. And, sending you all so much love, whether you're listening now or 100 years from now or whenever it is, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.
Awesome. Let me stop the stream and I'll say bye to you here.
For videos of hundreds of conscious conversations like this one, as well as live workshops, head over to universalabundance.co. That's universalabundance.co, and join the Universal Abundance community. And if you help us share this consciousness, as a result, attract and manifest unlimited abundance to you. Love and appreciate you all. Talk to you soon.